showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I'm executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it?
It goes well, Rich. Things are beginning to heat up a little bit here in Southern California, but as we were just chatting before showtime, things are heating up in your neck of the woods as well for the weekend, yeah?
Yeah, you know what? We are headed into some weather here in Seattle, where I am sitting right now, that I think would qualify as hot even in Southern California, where you are. The forecasted high for Monday, which would be what, the 28th, is 106 degrees.
Yeah.
And there ain't no air conditioning, residential air conditioning here in Seattle either. So it's going to be getting hot.
Yeah, you may have to break out a little kiddie wading pool to cool your feet off in or something.
Yeah. I may need to get like a working desk or something that I can put into a cold tub and just spend the day there and see how that works out.
Well, good luck. I mean, that's unusual weather. I mean, even here in Southern California, we rarely get that hot, but trends are changing as we've all as we're all experiencing here the last few years or so. So
yeah, might be time to invest in air conditioning, but
maybe a little portable unit that you can drag out when you need it.
Yes, I will check into that. I am sure the entire city is out of stock at this point, but maybe before the next big heat wave there. Well, let's dive into our top story here this week, Eric, and it comes to us from ConnectWise. They were hosting their second annual IT Nation Secure event this week. Now, it's their second IT Nation Secure event. It's the first one that they've actually done that involves live three-dimensional attendees. There was an online audience as well, I should say, but there was also an in-person event in Orlando, Florida that I was happy to attend this week. Not a lot of huge screaming headline kind of stories announced. That they did set up a cyber research unit at ConnectWise, which they really view as a sign of their increasing maturity as a security vendor. The real security companies have a threat intelligence organization of some kind. What I think is interesting about the show, and this is a continuation of a theme with ConnectWise. This is not the first time that they've focused on conveying this message, but they are really, really trying to drive home with MSPs right now that, as I kind of put it in some of my coverage of the event, providing security services and real security services, the services that your SMBs need, this is getting to be do or die stuff if you are an MSP right now. And they actually published during the event some research, which actually echoes results they've gotten in earlier studies. And I'll just quote you a few statistics that illustrate why they say security is such an important theme for MSPs. They went out to SMBs and asked, would you either hire an MSP based on, they're having a really good, strong security offering, or would you potentially switch from your current MSP to an MSP with better security offerings? 92% of the SMB surveyed said, yes, absolutely. Having, as it was phrased in the research study, the right security solution would either cause me to make a hiring decision on an MSP or a change to a different one. 34% of the SMB surveyed said that they would pay more for services from an MSP who has the right security solution. Here's another number from that study, though. Of those SMBs surveyed, only 7% said that they are regularly having cybersecurity conversations with their MSP. And the mismatch between that 92% of SMBs who would, switch to somebody else over this issue and the 7% who are actually hearing from their customers about SMBs is really what the entire IT Nation Secure partner community is about at ConnectWise, and what the folks at this event and more broadly, since the creation of IT Nation Secure, ConnectWise has been emphasizing, it's not just about having a security product offering. It's not just, being able to talk to your customers about firewalls and AV. It's about really understanding how to have a strategic conversation with the customer about their risks and how to prioritize those risks, and policies and all the stuff that goes along with products to deliver a complete, true cybersecurity solution. They continue to hammer home the point to ConnectWise partners that you got to get on this, or the people out there who are more serious about it are going to be eating your lunch, Eric.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And, as we've talked about on this show before, Rich, I'm spending the vast majority of my time helping MSPs make the transition to becoming more mature as a cybersecurity organization, adding these portfolios of services, connecting them with the right strategic vendor partners to help them deliver these services to their end user customers. Much akin to the way that I helped IT pros, transition to MSP, years ago. So it's kind of this, very, very similar concept. And, the same process has to occur in terms of educating these SMB business owners. And, I did some research recently for some sessions that I delivered last week all around the changing mindset of these business owners. We chatted a little bit last show about this, and we're seeing that adoption. So the statistics that ConnectWise shared about the changing behavior and perception of the need for cybersecurity by these SMB business owners, I will argue, has been accelerated just based on some independent research that I was doing for another topic, because of the pandemic and because it's forced these business owners to really rethink their cloud, remote workforce, and security strategy. So yes, if the IT pros and channel pros out there are not seeing this blue ocean opportunity, they're going to miss out, right? So I want to, clearly state that, you don't want to have, FOMO about this. You want to be leading. And I do think that the early adopters in the space will typically, begin by bundling and pricing these packages of solutions and see those as offerings. But as you wrote in your article covering the ConnectWise event, it really requires a much more strategic perspective to really deliver on the promise of continuing to offer value-added strategic security guidance to these business owners. And I think in the article, one of the statistics that I picked up was a comment by someone at the event that was speaking that said it probably takes a couple of years for an MSP to really build that MSSP, top performing cybersecurity, perspective and business methodology.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely what I was told by one of the ConnectWise executives I interviewed. Is once you make the decision that you want to get serious about this, it's going to be a few years until you have the skill set in-house to be a true security partner to your customers. And that really just sort of underscores, again, you're not doing managed security if you just have a few products that are bundled in with the rest of your managed services offering. And like you said, Eric, I mean, it's a giant opportunity to be doing that, but it's also a giant threat if you're not. And it's part of being a meaningful and a strategic partner to your customers, which I say, and I emphasize, because this is a perfect segue to your tip of the week, Eric, which is all about being strategic to your customers and what that really means and one manifestation of that.
Yeah, great segue, Rich. So I've been having more and more conversations just in the last week or so with different partners and adjusting their perception of what a strategic business meeting with an existing client is and what the intent of that is, what a QBR is all about. And it's not, a lot of MSPs out there may think it's kind of like a visit to the principal's office where they're going to review your grades on your report card and tell you where you're screwing up. that is not the intent of a QBR. It is not a performance evaluation of your services that you're delivering to your client. I mean, if those are the conversations that you're having with your clients and trying to shore up some maybe dissatisfaction that they have, then, you know, maybe it's not yet time for you to have strategic meetings with these clients. You need to shore those things up first so that that is not a concern. Like, we know if I'm the client and you're the MSP, Rich, hey, like, I want to know, Rich, you're handling all of that IT maintenance stuff for me. What I'm looking for from you is the strategic road mapping and planning that is the distinguishing factor, the value add that you brought to me when you presented your services to me that made me select you over some of these other options that I have. So if I'm the MSP, that QBR or that strategic meeting is all about understanding where my client is going, what their goals are for the business, how fast they want to get there, what is the gap from a technology perspective from where we are now and where we need to be to support that growth, and to schedule those improvements over time, allowing my client to understand what the budgeting requirements need to be and getting them to agree to those improvements and the budget required to do so. So in fact, what I'm doing is I'm providing a very high level strategic service to my clients, which also allows me to uncover additional revenue generating opportunities for my organization. And if you've got A and B clients, then you're going to meet more often with your A clients and maybe less often with your B clients. So let's say in generalities, we're meeting with our A clients at a minimum every quarter. Now, you may have some A clients you're meeting with more often. Maybe you're delivering virtual CIO or CTO or maybe even CISO services, so you're meeting more frequently. But with the B clients, maybe it's, you know, biannually, and it's all based upon need and budget approval, right? So wouldn't it be nice, Rich, if you entered every quarter in the future with budget commitments and project approvals for a handful of your A clients and a few B clients every single quarter moving forward? Wouldn't that be awesome? That's really the strategic approach to delivering security and technology solutions to your clients that creates stickiness and longevity over time. I recommend creating a 3-year technology roadmap, even if your agreement is only for 12 months, because again, we want to forecast out much beyond that to ensure that the client wants to continue, subscribing to our services and finding value in that. And that rotates. If New Year comes up, we do the third year again. So it's a rotating, continual, forward-thinking, strategic way to allow your clients to invest in the services that they need in order to achieve their business vision.
So on a future episode of the show, we need to host a drinking game, basically, in which the audience drinks every time we say strategic. But there is a reason why we're saying strategic as much as we are here, and why that really does matter. And you touched on it as you were talking there, which is the stickiness of the relationship. In an age of software as a service and Microsoft 365 and commoditization in the channel, you're at risk if you don't have a strategic relationship with your customers. And I'll come up with or attempt a 2-word summary of what it might mean to be strategic to your customer during these QBR meetings, which is basically surprise them. And by surprise them, what I mean is, instead of answering their questions about technology, come to the table with something maybe that they don't know about, hadn't anticipated, some opportunity for them to be more efficient or to be more profitable, to be more productive. Bring something to them that they don't know about, but you do because you know technology. That's a strategic conversation. Come to them with the latest, threat intelligence and help them understand the exposure that they face if they don't invest in certain ways in security. Again, that's your expertise shining through, and that's what's really going to cement a relationship, as opposed to having the kind of conversation with your customers that anyone basically can have.
Well said, Rich.
Well, that leaves us, folks, with time for just one more story this week. And, everybody loves the long ball, Eric. Even in the game of cricket. I'm not much of an expert in cricket, but I do know they have the equivalent of a home run in cricket, and it's called a six. Because if you hit the ball all the way out of the field of play, you get 6 runs for that, basically. And of course, if you're in the audience and somebody hits the ball not just out of the field of play, but out of the stadium, that is super exciting kind of stuff right there. Well, here's a story from an amateur league match in West Yorkshire in the UK. Which started out in a really exciting way for the batsman, ended a little bit unfortunately. So he had a six, a massive six. He knocked it out of the stadium through the windshield of his own car. So, in the span of seconds, basically, this went from being a phenomenal story to having a somewhat unfortunate ending. And I should say it could have actually been a really unfortunate ending because that wasn't just his car, but he's like a taxi driver. He sort of needs the car to do his work, but he was able to get it operational again. He didn't miss any work, didn't miss out on the income. So in that sense, there is a happy ending. But some of the glory of that giant cricket-style home run, Eric, taken away by an insurance claim, essentially.
Yeah, interesting. And in that story as well, the ball club, the cricket club, did right by him. They said, you know what, we'll help cover the cost of that because the guy hit sixes for us. So, it didn't, so it did end up well. It was kind of crushing in the moment. Like I read that he kind of dropped to he was excited that he saw, no, it's going to my car, and then dropped to his knees when it went through the windscreen. But yeah, I think excitement of the game. And then again, having, a club that says, you know what, we're going to help out. I think, it puts a smile to the end of the story.
Absolutely. Just go ahead and knock balls through as many windshields as you like. We'll pay for the bills. We'll take the 6 runs. And yeah. Well, folks, that is all the time we have this week on this episode of the 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back again next week with another episode. You know what? We are both a podcast and a video these days. If you are watching the video, check out the podcast. You will find us on Google and Apple and Spotify and Stitcher and every place you get podcasts. If you do, go ahead and subscribe. If you could take that extra second, give us the 5-star rating there. It's going to make us a little bit easier to find other people who might appreciate the content. If you are listening to the podcast right now, check out the video. You'll find us on YouTube. Easiest way to do that is to go locate the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. Become a subscriber there. If you click that little bell icon, in fact, you'll get notified when new episodes become available. The article about the ConnectWise event that Eric alluded to there is actually one of 4 that I produced this week out of that event. To read all that coverage and all the other great coverage that we have for you about what's happening in the industry and how to grow your business, go to channelpronetwork.com every day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, please visit ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, we thank you for joining us. We hope you will join us again next week for our next episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Until then, please, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.